Hello and good afternoon. I don't even think we have anybody in the chat. Wait a second, we do. We got 20 people here. Holy matrimony, folks. Welcome to Double Barrel Gaming's breaking news special. I'm your host, Mr. BoomStick XL. And folks, for the next 30, 40, give or take minutes, we're going to sit down and we're going to talk about this breaking news that comes the way of Tom Warren of The Verge, good friend of this program, great friend of the community. And well, it's ABK week, and obviously this isn't the CMA news that we were hoping for. That's tomorrow or Friday, and of course we're going to get the final sign, getting the ink dried on ABK. But before we get there, well, we have some stuff to get into now. Before we get into what we're going to talk about, I'm kind of going to let the people kind of flow on in here. And listen, obviously this evening, we are going to be talking about the ridiculousness that is PlayStation or PlayStation proper nowadays. We're going to be talking about the announcement of the PlayStation 5 Slim, both digital and physical editions, and really kind of just paint the picture on how Sony sees you and me as consumers, because they don't really care. I mean, the joke of the day was that I don't even know what it is because I haven't seen it in real life other than a picture. It looked like a paperclip holding up your $500 device. And if you want to stand your PlayStation 5, in a vertical position rather than horizontal, it's going to cost you additional $30. Pretty ridiculous, pretty egregious behavior from Sony. But this is, of course, the same group of or the same platform that's going to sell you The Last of Us 2 remake. Again, Last of Us 2 is coming out next year. That's their big release. And obviously, we know how they are. They're the remaster station, unfortunately. And we're going to talk about that. And of course, we're going to get into some finite details that hopefully will emerge regarding what the CMA is going to be doing in the next 24 to 48 hours. We have 164 people here. Of course, I want to say welcome to the program. If you're finding the channel for the first time, please consider subscribing. We are on the hunt for 14K, and well, we can get there if you decide that the content that I do on a weekly basis is worthy of course, your sub. I do this 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. Occasionally, you get the breaking news special. I am retired, if you don't know, so I can, of course, at the drop of a hat, do these types of podcasts, which is what I'm doing today. Now, right now, I'm solo. I reached out to a very good friend of the program who's a panel member on RDX. He's a panel member on Primetime Gaming, and he also represents Game On Daily with the crazy crew known as Asa and, of course, Gaz, Mr. Septic Sauce himself. And we'll see if Hargeet Jani can join us for a minute. But how's everybody's days going? Like I said, I'm just back. I'm actually passed on a workout to do this. I'm like, yeah, I'll work out tomorrow. It's fine. I got to talk about the breaking news. Hopefully, you are going to hang around to hear what we have to say. Again, I'm going to reach out to a person or two to kind of see if we can, it's tough when you're behind the mic by yourself, 30, 40 minutes, you have to get a little hoarse. So I'm going to see if I can get somebody in here with me as well. But hopefully, let me just get to the chat and welcoming everybody. First of all, ITZ TIMMEH version 2. What's going on, brother? Thank you for always being here, as you always are. Big shout out to everyone. Listen, it's great to have you here. We have crossed 200 people here on this impromptu breaking news special, if you will. And let me just do a quick check of the DMs and see if anybody has answered. I'm going to let me see who can I reach out to. C Money is always lurking, if you will. So I'm gonna send him a quick DM invite and see if he wants to pop on for a hot second. Sorry, I'm doing this in real time, as the kids like to say. But this is pretty big, folks. The news we're gonna break down in a second is pretty big. And you know what? Let's rip the Band-Aid off. Again, this comes the way of The Verge. Tom Warren is reporting it. He announced this, I don't know, maybe about 35 minutes ago. Shout out to 3-Bit, very good friend of this program and the community. He actually DM'd me with this information because I was actually on the way back from doing my 6 month cleaning at the dentist. And I saw this and I was like, oh my God, I got to get back and I got to show the pearly whites and I got to talk about video games. Well, this is what's happening. Obviously, if you are privy or you've kept your ear to the floor regarding the ABK deal, and really it's all we talked about for over a year now, is that the one holdup, the one thorn in the side of Microsoft turned out to be the CMA who blocked the deal. Originally, they had passed on the fact that they had concerns on the console SLC, and they used the cloud market as a potential problem for consumers in the UK. It was approved initially by the EU. They were one of the first big ones of the three that Microsoft needed to pass it. And obviously, we saw what happened with the FTC. They continued to embarrass themselves, and they lost miserably, as they should. And what had happened was Microsoft. We have the preliminary approval of the deal that came back. I think it was last week from the CMA, but they had to wait for a week to go by to get some surveys that went out for anyone that might actually have an issue with the purchase. The deadline for that was last Friday, which was the 6th, and it has been reported and it has been brought to our attention that this Friday should be when the CMA renders their verdict on they're going to approve the deal. And now we're getting, and again, we don't know if Microsoft immediately runs to the table and signs the deal, or, because remember, they have to move that money. They have to move $70 billion over to Activision. And obviously you can't do that with just a copy and a paste. So that may happen over the weekend. It may actually happen on Monday or Tuesday, but we know it has to happen before October 18th, which is the breakup date, which Microsoft would have to pay nearly $5 billion as a penalty. They don't want to do that. Activision wants their money. So I'm assuming if they don't sign the deal on Friday, they'll sign the deal on, of course, Monday or Tuesday. And obviously the 18th is the deadline of when you need to have this contract signed. But why we're here today, folks, why we're going to take the time to break down this news story that was reported by Tom Warren of The Verge, is it is being reported by Bloomberg that the European Commission is not going to need a second look at the deal. Now, why there were some questions as to if they needed to do a second look is because of the deal that Microsoft made with the UK, which of course is separate from the EU thanks to Brexit. Two European entities, two different ways of doing business and thinking, and there was some concern, obviously, that the EU felt a little slighted, if you will, that Microsoft made this deal to sell the rights for cloud to, of course, Ubisoft. So there was some talk originally that happened last week that they may need to do a second approval to give it a good look. And it turns out, thanks to this report from Tom Warren and, of course, Bloomberg, that is not going to be necessary. This is another giant, it's not even a step, folks. It's a leap in the right direction of finally closing this after nearly 20 months since the Activision Blizzard King acquisition was announced by Microsoft at the beginning of last year. It's been a long time coming, folks, and we're happy that this is finally going to come to a close. The EU is not going to have a problem. And again, I'm going to read verbatim from the report. Again, this is 48 minutes ago from Tom Warren, and it says this, folks. The EU won't reportedly need to approve Microsoft's Activision deal again. Bloomberg is reporting that the European Commission won't need to go through the approvals process for Microsoft's revised Activision Blizzard deal. Microsoft announced a restructured deal in August designed to appease UK regulators that involves transferring cloud gaming rights for current and new Activision Blizzard games to Ubisoft. The European Commission originally said it was carefully assessing the restructured deal, but appears it's now good to go. And again, credit to Bloomberg. Let's see if anybody is in here. No one's here yet. Okay, folks. So there you go. This is huge because this could have really put a kibosh on the deal. Like if the EU turns around and like said today, hey, listen, we got a problem with what went on with the UK. This deal is dead. The deal is dead. The EFTC wins, the CMA wins, and Xbox gamers lose. Now, again, depending on what camp you're in, what platform you have a preference for, this is the biggest deal in gaming. I've said it before, probably 100 times, and I'll say 100 times more. As Xbox gamers, we win, right? We are going to win because our subscription service is the value of this $16.99 a month service is going to go up tenfold. And one of the things that we're going to discuss in like big detail tonight at 7 p.m. on Primetime Gaming is, besides Sony's shenanigans, because of course that's again, it's pretty ridiculous when you consider the market leader and the third place platform. They're going in opposite directions. Sony is fumbling and stumbling. And what I find to be hilarious, and I'm not console warring here, folks, I'm just being honest with you. Sony announces, and they did it on the slide. They didn't even have like a big presentation. They didn't have like a big. They did a PlayStation blog announcement of the PlayStation 5 Slim versions, right? They upsell you on a vertical stand. They give you a horizontal stand that's as big and stout as a paper clip. This is They raised the price of the digital version console. When you would imagine it's a slim version, it's supposed to go down in price. No, they raise it. And Microsoft, and in the same week, they're trying to sell you another PlayStation 5, and Microsoft is about to close a $70 billion deal that now gets some ownership of Call of Duty. I mean, it's like a joke. It's like a running joke. I'm sorry, not to be like a D-bag about it, but it's two companies going in the opposite direction, and this is in the same year that Sony has one first-party game. Jim Ryan kicks the bucket, whether he was fired or he got the F out of Dodge, because he's like, I see what's happening here. And the best news that we got for 2024 is The Last of Us 2 remake for the PlayStation 5. Listen, folks, if you are a Sony guy or gal, I am. I can't wait to play Spider-Man, but it can't be just Spider-Man. I'm sorry. It just cannot be. And I cannot wait for this deal to be done. This is huge. This is a big deal. It's something to get excited about. And I'm happy here to spend the next 30 minutes with you. See if we can get somebody else in here with me to kind of get their hot take on it. I'm going to send out the feelers and see if we can get somebody in here. But listen, folks, I'll reach out to you. I see that. I see you, Thanaros, big and stout. Indeed. Pause. Got to throw a pause there. Let's see. Pragmatic Eagle, great friend of the community. # charge them more. It's funny because we literally were kind of going after Everborn. Me and KSI this morning says, how come you're not wearing the charge them more t-shirts? I would buy one. Everyone would buy one, right? Who wouldn't buy that shirt? Let's see. Oh, see, Money is here. Here he is. Money, what's up, brother? I'm so up? Here. We're only going to be here for like 20 minutes, 35 minutes, give or take.
Fine, man.
I wanted to get your hot take on the breaking news because this is a big deal. This is a huge step. For the last couple of weeks, well, that's the last week, maybe the last week or so, if you remember, there was some talk from the EU,
some scuttlebutt,
that this could be a holdup because the deal was changed to appease the UK. Now, it literally does not affect the EU's deal at all. It just doesn't. What it does is that the UK is going to Ubisoft is going to handle the UK cloud market, and the deal that was originally signed with Microsoft and the EU, that's in place. That's not everyone's gonna get their just due. How big
Yep.
of a deal is this, C Money?
I mean, it's huge because this is it. This is we CMA. We already knew they're going to do it. EU was everything was clear with them, but then this whole kind of like, oh, are they going to get like jealous or annoyed that CMA got something that they didn't quite get, and are they going to try to lash out for some reason, which kind of was a little bit of an extreme thought process to have because it's not really rational. But at this point when we've been doing it for so long, it's just like, any little thing is like, are you shitting me? Like, is there really now a possibility that this is going to be an issue? And the fact that this has been firmed up that it's not going to be an issue, Friday 13th, here we come, baby. It's going to be a beautiful day. No
Yeah,
problems in our way.
I mean, again, this is just a stepping stone, but it's leaps and bounds of a stepping. Because this could have, like I said, I said before you got here, this could have legitimately killed the deal if the EU says, pump the brakes, we got a problem. And I
Yeah.
would imagine that Microsoft has been working with them in tandem. The CMA, we passed the deadline of anyone that wanted to, potentially oppose it, give their opinion on it. That was last Friday. We knew that that Friday the 13th was probably going to be the day that the CMA announces to the world that yes, we have approved this with the sanctions. We openly discussed about Ubisoft handling the cloud market for Microsoft, selling the cloud market rights to Ubisoft. And of course, again, I don't know if Microsoft rushes to the table because they have all their ducks in orders because we're all anticipating this. Do they literally get the okay, and then Friday morning we get the announcement here in America after 9 a.m. that the deal is officially consummated, it's signed, everyone's got their monies, the money's been transferred. Microsoft officially owns Activision Blizzard King, which means that now Call of Duty becomes first party. Or does that happen on Monday or Tuesday? We don't know, but it is going to happen at some point at the end of this week, at the start of next week, right before the 18th. I mean, talk about cutting it close. But I think that's
Yeah.
why the 18th was specifically that date wasn't just pulled out of a hat. They knew what they were going to do. This is going to change the market leadership and see money. I had made mention of this before you got here. It's two platforms going in the absolute opposite directions. Sony is floundering. You say what you want about Spider-Man looking amazing, and it does, and I cannot wait to play it. I'm going to literally stop whatever I'm playing to play Spider-Man because I love Marvel and I love Insomniac. But that cannot be the answer. That cannot be the only move that you make. And when you look at what's going on with Sony, I mean, just look at this year, folks. They Jim Ryan's gone. It's Sony proper is now handling Sony Entertainment Interactive Entertainment. SIE is being handled and controlled now by Sony. That's a monster problem. On top of that, you got one first party coming out. That's all. You have no roadmap whatsoever. You got a price increase by $40
Ridiculous
for your
price
streaming
increase.
service. And then to make matters worse, to pour salt on the wound, so to speak, see money. They just show us the PlayStation 5 Slim, right? Not the Pro,
So
the Slim. They raise the price of the digital. They give you a paper clip to hold up your $500 device that comes with it. Oh, thanks so much for that. And then they say, well, if you want to stand it vertically, that's an additional $30. Like, who is signing off on this? If you're a Sony fan, like, I don't care if you are the diehard of diehard Sony fans, you got to look at this with a crooked eye. I'm sorry, dude. Like, this is bonkers to me that
it's
someone be like,
ridiculous.
oh yeah, what they're doing over at Xbox sucks, and what they're doing at PlayStation is what I'm here for. Really?
boom, you're gonna see the shift, man. You're
Yeah,
gonna see the shift. There's only so far that you could defend like stupid moves that PlayStation have been making before, like you just. I mean, they already look like clowns, but I mean, at this point, they're like a school of clowns. You know what I'm saying? Like they're just a ridiculous group of people if they sit there and keep on trying to deny the positive moves that Microsoft continues to make, the amazing games that they continue to give us, and they're scheduled to give us more of, versus the shit show that we have. I mean, listen, Spider-Man is Spider-Man, but like, I don't even consider Spider-Man like PlayStation because even though it is a PlayStation exclusive, I mean, it's a Marvel property, right?
yeah.
Like that's what they're leaning on, right? And Insomniac, yeah, they're churning out these games quickly, but as you can see, they release like all three of them in like the span of the time that like one of the other games comes out, right? Like they're going ahead and they didn't go and say how can we rewrite this game to make it of PlayStation 5 exclusive banger that's going to take advantage of the PlayStation 5
Yep.
so crazily. No, that's not what they did. They took the bones of Miles Morales and 2018 Spider-Man and they just made it prettier. And they added the fact that now you can have two people in the game, and you can zoom out and fast travel quickly to another place because of the power of the SSD. Except, I don't know, Grand Theft Auto 5 did it like 10 years ago without much of a concern or a problem. Um, so I mean, honestly, I'm all for it right now. Like I'm so excited for what Xbox is doing and what they're bringing us, and it's amplified by seeing the shit show that's happening on the PlayStation 5 side. You know what I'm saying? Like the fact that these guys can be satisfied with what they got going on and still find a way to talk shit is beside me. But and it's literally changing. Once this deal closes, again, it's not a flip of the switch, right? It's not going to be, day one. Oh my God, this is it. But this is the beginning of the new way that X
Yes.
will be perceived, and that's just the reality.
Well, I mean, look, I'm reading something that Jez posted the other day. Yesterday when the announcement came with the whole PlayStation shenanigans. He says the fact that PlayStation can just increase the prices of their stuff so easily says to me that they don't look at Xbox as a threat anymore. We are far, far from the days of the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One launch. And yeah, I mean, look, I'll say it to all the Sony fans: if you sanction this kind of behavior, this anti-consumer behavior, good on you, and you're the problem. Yeah, I went out and I
Facts.
bought a $15 armor for Assassin's Creed. And I know some people are going, boo, how dare you? You know what? I
Fuck
didn't
that.
spend a dime. Microsoft points, brother. I bing it up every day. Get my 150, 300 points per day. And guess
That's it.
what? I got nearly 100,000 points. So when I
Oh yeah.
cash them in, I'm not spending anything. I'm literally just clicking a mouse. So there you go. Yeah, this to
Absolutely.
me is, you're right, C Money. It is two platforms going in two separate directions, and is something to be said about a market that is going to shift. And yeah, sure, is that going to happen immediately? No, the answer is it is not. Microsoft is going to have to continue to deliver the Starfields and the Forza Motorsports. We're going to
Yep.
have to see Hellblade 2, deliver in a big way, and Avowed, and Clockwork
100%.
Revolution, and all of their first party. They're going to have to continue to drive the point home that Xbox not only is the best place for value, but is the best place for shooters and RPGs and third person action adventures, where that was Sony for a long time. And this ABK deal, again, this is just one more nail, so to speak, into the coffin of a market
Yeah.
leader that just shows up. See, I think the days of Sony just showing up are over.
Man. It's done.
They're
It's
not going
done.
to be able to do that anymore.
You can't. Not with Xbox firing on all cylinders the way they are. Not with Xbox investing the way they are. what's happening is you said it right. You got two different companies going in two different directions. The question is, are the fan bases going to be okay with those directions? And we already know
Yep.
that on the Xbox side, the fan base is going right. Like we're all in on Xbox and their roadmap and their plans. They showed us nothing but bangers. We have no reason to believe that they won't come through. That's the biggest difference, right? Like before, we didn't know if Microsoft was going to produce the games at the caliber that we were expecting, because we were seeing these like smaller titles or like these games come out not 100% the way we wanted them. Meanwhile, PlayStation was on the other side getting these bangers, and it's like, oh my
Yep.
god, when is this going to change? Well, the studios that Microsoft has, these are not debatable studios. Like these are not studios that we could say, well, Obsidian, they are known for giving us crap, so let's see what they do. It's like, no, like Avowed is going to be amazing. Like that's going to be a fire ass game. We have Bethesda. Listen, Starfield is the proof in the pudding. And yeah,
Yes.
we had Arcane, right? Arcane come out with Redfall that was disappointing to some at the beginning. As you and I agree, it was a great game. It just wasn't like at maybe the execution wasn't the way we would have wanted it to be done, but we enjoyed it.
Right.
But just seeing the fact that they're investing in that game, bringing it forward, trying to make it better. I mean, we see what they're doing, and I mean, as far as everybody on my timeline and everybody that I see who's on Team Green, right? It seems like we're all in that same headspace. We love what's coming. When you look at something like Fable that they showed us, and you think of Playground Games, the team that honestly does not miss,
Yep.
right? You don't go into that looking at Fable saying, yeah, these guys are gonna half-ass it or they're not gonna show up the right way. I mean, they already showed us graphically how beautiful that game can look. I mean, we still have more time. There's even more ability for them to finesse that and do more. But when you look at the squad and the roster that Xbox is building, I mean, this is not like a skirmish. You know what I'm saying? Like they're coming for war, right? They got
Yeah.
platoons with them, and they're looking to snuff them out. Now, obviously, again, we don't want PlayStation to disappear, right? We want them to be there. We want them to excel so that can continue to push Xbox. But as far as like the market share and the dominance, I mean, it's gonna start shifting. We're
Yep.
gonna see it. It's gonna move, whether that equals consoles or Game Pass subscriptions. I mean, that's really doesn't matter. It's neither here or there, right? At the end of the day, what Xbox cares about is how many people are playing on their platform. And I said it before and I say it now. This is going to be similar to the Xbox 360 generation, where PlayStation
Yes.
got out ahead first, and they were killing it, doing all these fun things, coming out with all these good games. And PlayStation, uh, uh now they're in front, but we're going to be taking that PlayStation 3 role where we were losing in the front, but by the end, we'll come around. And by the end of this generation, you will see that Xbox will have flipped the narrative. They will end up strong here, and they will start next generation with a bang, with Elder Scrolls 6 launching on the system day one when the new system launches. And we're going to go into the next generation screaming at the top of our lungs. It's going to be
Yeah.
amazing.
Absolutely. Listen, shout out to James Cannon in the chat. He says people are still playing Titanfall 2. Dude, there was a huge update. They just updated it 3 weeks ago, and it's
Yeah,
the
man.
matchmaking is fixed. You find a game like that. I put maybe another 8 hours into it. So I recorded some new footage, obviously, which is on the screen. Yeah, man. And you know something? Did it see money? Did you see the clip that was going around? It's fake. I'm devastated. The Wandering
Oh,
Dutch was saying
was it
that
about
he
Titanfall 3?
yeah, he said that because it says something about respawn and a reveal for
Oh my
10
god.
27 23, and you hear they don't show anything. It's like just a black screen, and if you listen, if you're a Titanfall player, you got to wait for the last 5 seconds, because you hear like a battle going on. You don't see anything, and then you hear silence, and then you hear the Titan is dropping, And I'm
Oh
like, oh my
man.
god, that's Titanfall, and
So
I
that
got
was
so
fake?
excited. Yeah, and it's according to Dutch. Dutch was like, yeah, that's fan made. I'm like, oh my god, why
Oh
are
man.
you doing this to me? I don't understand. Um,
Titanfall was the shit. You know what's crazy? I think we forget that, like, again, like us hardcore people tend to kind of play something and then like move on to the next biggest baddest game out there. But like the majority of people don't do that. You know, like the majority of people don't buy that many games or don't have that many games to play, and they'll stay with games for a while. And if they have a favorite type of game, like they'll come back to it. Like the fact that Titanfall is getting, support again, dude. You know how many people were upset that it was having problems like this? They fixed it for them. Like they're
yeah.
gonna be playing it, man. They're not going anywhere, bro.
I'll say
This game
this.
is great.
Apex Legends came in is a moneymaker. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I hate the fact that it is connected to Titanfall because I think those characters are just stupid. I don't like the characters at all. I think they're just
I
dumb.
think it was unnecessary to make it connected to
Yeah,
Titanfall. It should have
it's
just been its
fine.
own place.
I would love to see like even if it's just free to play, that's fine. Make a free to play Titanfall where you can buy your Titans however you want to price it. But what I would love is to see Titanfall 3 come back in a big way. I'd love a campaign. Vincent Pella, he just knows how to tell a story. And if you missed out, I'll tell you this right now: Titanfall 2's single player campaign is probably one of the best
Fire.
single player campaigns you've never played. It has emotion. It is Call of Duty on crack cocaine. It is everything you could possibly want in a single player campaign. An amazing story, fantastic graphics, and again, it actually has an emotional connection to the Titan that you're with through the whole game. BT was
Absolutely.
amazing. Listen, I don't know what else to say. But look, like I said, at the end of the day, what we're starting to see is two platforms going in opposite directions, and I'm happy. I'm here for it. I'm happy for it. I'm actually tired of Sony just showing up and winning. They have chosen to put the consumer on the back end of what they're doing moving forward. And that's why, if you want to keep supporting them, okay, you keep supporting them, but they're going to continue with the bad behavior. Overcharging for a stand. You buy and think about this. You're buying a near $600 console after tax. And then on top of that, you got to buy a stand. Like, how much more are they going to nickel and
It's
dime you?
ridiculous.
It,
It's ridiculous. It's just show. All it does is show that they know that their time is coming, where it's not going to be as big of a deal as it's been for them to be around. And what's going to happen is over time is going to change. They know right now, even if we get once this deal closes, like the majority of people are not going to understand what that means or even really know about it, right? It's going to be slowly coming out when they start seeing the Call of Duty advertisements with day one of the Game Pass and whatever other big Activision game or Blizzard game coming out, going into Game Pass. When these things start spreading out there,
yeah.
people will start to see, like, holy shit, like this is happening. And then they'll
Yes.
start to move away. So they know right now, this is the moment. This is the best PlayStation will ever do in this exact scenario. So they're trying to get everything they can from anyone they can. And as unfortunately, there's a lot of stupid people in the world who will think that this is worth spending the money on. There's not even a change. Like at least the Xbox, that refresh that they're doing, they have a few things that they're changing about the system. All they're
Right.
giving you on the PlayStation is 175 extra
Yeah,
gigabytes of
they're giving
storage.
you a little bit more hard drive space. It goes from 678 to I think 8 and change because it's 1 TB,
Yep.
but there's still like like 100 plus gigs that's reserved for the console. It happens to all of them, even the Series
Yep.
X. But that's all you're getting. Yeah, you're not getting any additional speed or any
Nope.
better
No better
processors.
Wi-Fi, no
No,
anything,
the only thing
just a
that you are
standard
getting is
ass connection.
an additional USB-C port, but they're taking away the other USB-C.
A,
Yeah, the A port. Yeah, so the
the USB A.
USB-A is you're losing that for a C. And I mean, it's potato, right? You can buy
Yeah,
connectors, if you want adapters, if you need to plug
which is
in
just
your
all more money, by
yeah,
the way.
it's more money you have to spend. Listen, it's again, it's fine, but you know what? Being that you're here and I don't
I
have to
know.
speak, we'll spend another 10-15 minutes. I do want to talk about this because this actually just came across my desk. It's from Jwood 2010 on Twitter. He sent this, put this out there. Now, if you remember, we talked about it yesterday, C Money, where Activision Blizzard had on their official Twitter account saying, "Hey, folks, get ready. But you're not gonna start seeing ABK content until next year."
Yep.
Apparently, that's not in fact the case. We got an update to that because according to Jez Corden's sources within Xbox, and of course, if you don't trust Jez Corden, well, I don't know what to tell you. I do. He says
Yep.
this: despite Activision's statement, you can expect to see a bunch of Activision stuff hit Xbox Game Pass as soon as the deal is finalized, which says that the minute the pen hits the paper and the ink dries, Xbox is going to be ready to go with content. Now, what that content
Absolutely.
is, I would imagine it's going to be potentially Call of Duty 2019, which is Modern Warfare 2. If that happens, that is going to be big. Now, I own it already, but I know a lot of
Yep.
people who don't. And obviously, Modern Warfare 3 is around the corner. We kind of walked away a little bit numb of whether or not we're actually going to see that get into Game Pass this year. I think they should. If they're trying to sell subscriptions, I think it would be huge. I don't know if they can with time because it is November 10th, which is right around the corner. What are your thoughts on this new revelation from Jez Corden of Windows Central?
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, that's what I figured it was going to be anyway. Like, I knew the conversation that was being had is still kind of like letting everybody know, like, hey, we're not owned yet. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, we have plans and yeah, we'll work with them, but we have no plans. You have no plans because you're not you're not owned. You can't say that you have plans to put it in before. And this could actually have been, if you really think about it, like just kind of like that last note to the CMA, like, hey, listen, we were never going to put our games into Game Pass. All right, we're not doing it. So right now, this is only happening. If we close, then I'm sure we're going to work with Microsoft and talk about getting those things in there. But at the end of the day, like, who are kidding? You know what I'm saying? Phil is chomping at the bits to get whatever he can into there. Now, are we going to see like this humongous dump of games where you got like every game that
It's going
they
to be
ever
60,
did?
70 games? No, it's
Nah,
not
nah,
going to be
nah,
that many.
nah. I think if they can pull off Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, I think that'll definitely be one that they do. But if not, you might see like the older Call of Duties hop in, or like your Tony Hawk, or the Crash Bandicoot game, something that's gonna make a worthwhile headline. Like, oh man, these games are coming in. But they're gonna dole it out over, I would say, a short amount of time, probably over the course of the rest of this year, just to not lose the advantage of having new games coming out every once in a while. You know what I'm saying? Like every week you could release some, every couple weeks, and take advantage of keeping your name in the news cycle, right? Every time you do another drop, it's going to be a big deal. Um, and honestly, all these legacy titles, these are dope, but like there's no rush for them, right?
Right.
Like what we're really here for is when they do start bringing their new stuff in there. So if they dole them out every once in a while, we'll be fine. But I 100% expect that, if not the day, within that week. I believe it was like 3 days after Bethesda closed
Yes, 3 days.
that they did a big dump. So I mean, I can see something similar. You figure Friday the deal's going to close, so maybe that's the news cycle that they want, that they just want that out there. Everybody's talking about how the deal closed, and then maybe Monday morning they start the week off strong with Xbox Wire. Here's 15 or 20 games that are coming into Game Pass from Activision Blizzard. And you got, people forget about Blizzard. It would be great to get the Diablo, the remakes that they did for Diablo, the original 1 and 2, I think they did.
Yeah.
You could put 3 in there. Like, there's plenty that can go in. It's not just Activision stuff. Blizzard has plenty of stuff that we would love to kind of get in there as well. So yeah, 100%. I don't see them. I don't see them doing what that tweet said and waiting till next
Well,
year
look,
to get to
I
that
got
one.
further context. Jez Corden put out an additional tweet. He says, our sources indicate, surprising nobody, that despite Activision's statement, you can expect to see a bunch of Activision stuff hit Xbox Game Pass as soon as the deal is finalized. And he goes out and asks a question to the community: what would you what would you like to see hit Xbox Game Pass? I mean, I don't
Yep.
know if Singularity is backwards compatible. I don't know how many
Time to
people.
bring it.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't know what I'm talking about, this was a game that came out during the 360 era. It's called Singularity. It's like it's about like time travel. It's a first person shooter. It's freaking phenomenal and deserves a sequel. I would even take an HD remake, to be honest with you. But I don't know if that game is backwards compatible. If it's not, I'd love to see that actually be added, because if you, put it this way, it's a game that you did not know that you needed to play, but you should play it. It was absolutely phenomenal.
The
But
question is, are they going to reinstate the back compat program to
that's a great
start
question, C-Money.
taking
Yeah.
advantage of all these Activision IP that have been sitting there? Like, why let them just sit? We can go ahead. Now we don't have any more problems with the IP holder because we are now the IP
Now they're the
holders.
owner. Yes.
So
Right.
let's go ahead and let's start getting these things done. You know, that what an announcement that would be. Hey, we're reinstating the back compat program. We're going to be working on these games, and over the next few months, you'll start getting some in. Like, that's going to be dope, dude. Like, that's going to be exciting. Can you imagine Singularity, 4K, 60 FPS, crisp?
I'd play the game again. I'd play through the game again. Like they're like, I'm playing through Max Payne 3 right now. Now, I didn't play through it originally. I got excited because they announced that the remakes of 1 and 2, and I picked it up last year for like $8-9, and I'm like, oh yeah, you know what?
Nice.
I gotta play through this, and it's really good. It looks really really good on the Xbox Series X.
Yeah, man.
I don't know what you folks are playing. I'm in the midst of like 5 games, and I hate it but love it at the same time. Assassin's Creed is so freaking good. Oh my god, I can't stop playing it. Motorsport, what could you say? I'm close to the end of Starfield. I'm 5 days, 5 hours in. I'm in no
Jesus.
rush to beat it. Like I don't have to cross the finish line. But
It's
hey,
just
look
an
at me, I won.
experience, bro.
I'm just enjoying it for what it is. And of course, Max
I keep saying
Payne.
it too, man. I keep saying
Yeah.
it too. Every time I play it, I'm like, man, maybe I should go try to start the main mission because I haven't yet. And it's
Wow.
like, nah, man, there's just so much to explore. Like every time I go to a planet and I see like a new outpost or a new cave
You
or a
want to go
new
and explore,
something,
see if you get
I
that
want to go
gold gun.
explore. Yeah, man. And they're like, dude, I went and I was just on a planet and I was going to a cave, and as I'm going to a cave, I see this humongous ship like fly in and like dock, like just sit somewhere further away. I'm like, oh man, I gotta go check that
I
out.
gotta go steal the
I
ship.
went over there. It's a humongous ship. I didn't know there were ships that you couldn't steal. It was a monster ship, like a humongous ship. But I went over there, went up all the way through, talked to the captain. He was like, "Oh, you're early." I was like, "Is like lie?" Like, "Yeah, I am early. Yeah, but I'm here for the delivery." And he gave me this dope ass suit, like a gold, a gold legendary
I love
suit.
it. That's
And I
great.
was like, "Yeah, don't worry, I'll deliver it." And I just booked. The reality is, I actually saved it, killed everybody, but then Sarah got really mad at me, so I reloaded it and just I still didn't quite seal the deal with Sarah, so I can't be getting her upset. So I reloaded it, but still the game that keeps on giving, man. I love it so much. But yeah, it's a great time to be an Xbox
Yeah,
fan, man. There's so much
she's
to play.
definitely a Karen. I was talking about that with Everborn and Kay Asante this morning. I told the
Nice.
story, folks. I like you. I saw a ship, right? I got on board on the ship. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna steal this ship. And the lights were off. It was red, so I thought that she was probably that the pilot was part of the Crimson Fleet. So I whipped out the shoddy. Boom, boom, dead. Turns out that she was not part of them. She's actually one of the good guys. And Sarah got so much, oh my God, I can't be with you. You're a murderer. And she broke out. I'm like, what just happened? So I had to reload. I had to reload the save, and I'm like, okay, I can't steal the ship. I can't.
That's why you get to, listen to save before you
Shout
do
out to the
anything
missus
crazy.
who's in the chat. Now she writes Sarah.
My dude,
I've heard so many different stories. Like my brother's now a serial killer. I hate to say it. Yeah, he's loaded. You know, he beat the game, got new game plus, and now he's just a fiend. He kills everybody, steals everything. He wanted to play it from a different perspective, and now he's just
a mass murderer.
And not lazy, the lazy otaku. Boom out here killing the wrong people. Yeah, I definitely shot first and asked questions later, and it nearly cost me my marriage to Sarah. So I just reloaded.
Yeah, you gotta sometimes. Hold on one second.
Oh my God. Yeah. So yeah. Other than that, listen. Look. At the end of the day, there is a lot to be excited about in gaming. I don't care whether you're a PlayStation gamer. I don't care because Spider-Man is upon us. Listen, say what you want. I know I actually had one guy DM me. Boom, stop talking about Spider-Man so much. It's getting me sick. Listen, hit the unsub button and give me a thumbs down every time I go live. I'm excited for the game. I'm a gamer. You know, what can I tell you? I got 81 hours in Redfall. What can I tell you? But look. I'll say this. I think when you see what's happening in gaming, even if you are a diehard PlayStation player, you cannot look at Sony with a crooked eye. They're doing a lot of really anti-consumer things. Yesterday's announcement of the PlayStation 5 Slim is another perfect example, as they do not care about you as a consumer. They're going to nickel and dime you left, right, and center. Don't accept it. Don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe, folks. That's the best I can tell you. If you're not an Xbox gamer, I don't know why at this point, outside of you actually literally hating the brand because you're a console warrior, you're crazy not to be a part of the conversation. There is so much greatness going on, and you see what I did there. I stole Sony's line. There's nothing great about what Sony's doing. I'm sorry, there just isn't.
That line is gone for Sony.
Yeah, it is. And the whole for the payers tagline,
yep.
that's the truth. You are paying at every corner, regardless of what and it's disgusting. It is honestly disgusting. But look, C-Money, we're gonna get everyone out of here. Obviously, this was only meant to be about 45 minutes, give or take. Breaking news, folks. The EU will not need an additional approval, which is a big deal. It is a hurdle. It's a monster hurdle for the deal. Expect the CMA's announcement in the next 48 hours. I don't know if that is tomorrow when we get up, because at 6 a.m. here in the States, or at least in the East Coast where I'm located, it is 11 a.m. Business has already started. Usually I wake up to these CMA announcements. It is possible tomorrow we get a CMA announcement that they have officially approved the deal, or that is going to come the way of Friday. And then, of course, like I discussed earlier, you can expect Microsoft to immediately sign, because they're going to be literally waiting to sign, or that they're going to consummate the deal Monday or Tuesday. It is going to be before the 18th. But listen, thank you so much for checking out the show. If you are new to the channel, please consider subscribing. I do shows 5 days a week, Monday to Friday. All great panels. We don't sell hate. We don't hate monger. We don't clickbait you here. We come here. We give this righteous smoke where it's necessary, whether that be for Nintendo, for Xbox, or for PlayStation. But we keep you up to date in the news. And at the end of the day, we have a lot of fun here. Real quick, there's been a couple of super chats and a channel membership before I get out of here. Maxi Coleman drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, the smart move was Ubisoft. Effectively of the EU wanted a second look, it would be harming a European company. Brilliant. Yeah, I just think that nothing damaged that deal. Everything that they said they were going to do with the EU is not affected by this deal. The CMA was just being, they're puffing out their chest. Pixel Bit G, welcome to the program, my brother. Great to see you. He says this after being a channel member for 28 months. My goodness, thank you so much for the generosity. PlayStation 5 4K streaming is only available on PlayStation consoles, and that's an L. Also, Xbox is adding value. Crazy to not be the place for people to choose to play. He's 1,000% right. If you're not choosing Xbox to play, then you're missing a huge aspect of gaming, and one that respects your time and respects, more importantly, your money as a consumer. We have THX1138 drops a very generous $2 super chat and says Sony's Call of Duty marketing rights will be revoked. Hashtag ABK. I think that Jim Ryan walked away from that already. Again, I don't know. I don't know. I can only go based on what he said in the trial hearings, where he said that it makes no sense for Sony to pay for marketing on an IP that's going to be known as Xbox, which is what Call of Duty is going to be.
The big 10% when you're talking about Call of Duty numbers.
Yeah,
big 10% when you're talking Call of Duty.
So, and again, and I'm glad you bring that up before we get out of here. This is why they would do it. The current contract with Activision gives Sony 20%. The regular takeaway is a 70-30 split. If they keep the current contract and they keep the current marketing rights, they're getting 20%. If they sign and accept the deal effective immediately of the 10-year deal, they're getting the standard 70-30 from Microsoft, meaning that they would get an additional bump of 10%. Now, granted, a lot of people are going to try and maybe if Game Pass is a scenario for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, maybe they'll lose some sales. But I think Sony is going to want that additional 10%, and it makes sense. It makes dollars and cents. But see, Money, let's sell your brand, brother. Let's talk about one of the most unique places to have a family kind of an podcast. It's unlike anything we've ever seen before. He podcasts with his wife multiple times a week, which she's lovely. I've been on their show. They've been on my show as well. And when they get together as a family, you're getting perspectives from older folks like us, and of course from their kids. And I think it's brilliant. No one's doing it. See Money, Sell the Brand, brother. Talk about where people could check out and subscribe to your 11K YouTube channel, and more importantly, where can people reach out to you on social media?
Well, first of all, Boom, thanks for
thank you for being here, for jumping on for 45 minutes.
Yeah, man, absolutely. So it's always fun to be here with you, Boom. So I appreciate that. So we have a channel called On Point for Gamers. Yesterday we had our big guest show, which is her, him, and a guest, and we had the privilege to sit down with the one and only Infinite Umbra.
Indeed.
And I would say that you don't know Umbra like we know Umbra now. So if you haven't watched it, go watch it, because we learned a lot. Am I going to say that there was a brief concert that was taking place with
That's not surprising, because he has a pretty damn good singing voice.
Yes, he does. Was there a break for a concert? Yeah, there was. But definitely check it out. It's awesome. And we'll be back tomorrow with our gaming podcast. It's called On Point, the gaming podcast. We keep it nice and simple here. That's the one that we have with my wife, myself, and my son. He's he's gonna be 17. He's an older kid, but he has his own unique perspective on things, and we have a good time. So definitely come check us out on Thursday. It's at 5 p.m. Eastern time. Fridays we're back at it again, the three of us, and we do On Point Anime and Beyond, where we talk about anime, TV, movies, anything pop culture related. And again, we just kind of really have a good time. And the show that I really like, I mean, I like all our shows, but I'm starting to grow more and more of is just the show that I have just with my doodle. Me and her, we do a morning show on Mondays called Morning Quest with Doodle and C Money. It's at 9 a.m. Eastern time, so it's nice and early. Get the week off, get started off right. Talk gaming, all the fun stuff. We have a great time. So we definitely love for you guys to come check us out. Check out the channel, subscribe, hit the bell, like our stuff. we just started our road to 12K. All right. So the march continues and we move forward. But we appreciate you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And real quick, shout out to Torino Johnson, who's become a channel member. Brother, that's very kind of you. Thank you for joining the channel. Like I said, the channel membership and the super chats, they help more than you know. They allow us to do the big giveaways. We gave 2 Fridays ago, we gave away $500, 10 $50 gift cards for Boom's birthday bash. Last year, we added Mrs. Boom's birthday bash. That's coming back. Another $500 giveaway the first week of November. She's November 1st, All Saints Day for Mrs. Boom. And of course, the big one. And I mean, it is the big one. And of course, this is thanks to Mrs. Boom's, because, you know, she handles the finances for the channel. And, you know, we sat down at the beginning of the year and, you know, we wanted to do a little bit more because obviously the world kind of sucks right now and people kind of need a little bit of a helping hand. And even though we're a mom and pop kind of a, you know, operation, we kind of wanted to give back a little more. So she said, can we at least match the $1,000 we gave away last December? And then she kind of played the number. She says, what do you think about adding $500 more to that? I said, I love the idea. Can we do it? She says, we absolutely can do it. So this December, for the first time in the channel's history, and mind you, this is channel support through super chats and channel memberships. No corporate sponsors here, folks. We're mom and pop. We're grassroots. In the 2-hour show for the 6th annual Mr. and Mrs. Christmas with Mr. and Mrs. BoomStick, we're giving away $1,500. 10 $100 gift cards and 2 grand prizes of $250 gift cards, 2 of them, for a whopping $1,500 in 2 hours. No one does that. And I do kind of pat myself on the ass for that because we want to give back. We don't want to just take your money and spend it on frivolous stuff. Awesome. We spend the money. We've spent, I want to say, let me see, money this year, probably around $2 grand on artwork, easily. Easily. And we use Sean Labrie. Sean Labrie is an amazing artist. He's busy as all hell, but if you want to get some of the best work in the business, check out Sean Labrie. He's done all our work. And he's worth every penny, every single penny. And we can't do these kind of upgrades. I'm a retired guy. My pension is great, but it has a ceiling, as you would imagine. So that's where these come in to play, and we are incredibly grateful and humbled more than I can actually even say. So, of course, thank you for that. And, of course, I'm going to close out the show with something that's incredibly important to me, folks. Hopefully, one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my amazing pops taught me when we were kids. And he would say this: Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, Craig, I can guarantee you you're going to have an awesome day. So we'll see you we'll actually see you tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the new episode of Primetime Gaming with Mr. BoomStick and Friends. We'll see you later, and thanks so much for stopping by. Take care, everybody, and be safe.